Hey there guys, this is Cole. Welcome back to another video. I just finished doing my top 5 favorite John Carpenter movies. Now, I'm going to do a video on my top 5 favorite movies directed by George A. Romero. Now, George A. Romero is widely regarded as one of the best horror movie directors of all time. He pretty much gave birth to the zombie genre as we know it today with the 1968 movie, black and white movie, Night of the Living Dead. But he went on to have a big career after that. So, in today's video, I'm going to give you my list of my top 5 favorite George Romero movies. Now, go ahead, share your list in the comment section down below. And with that said, let's get started. Coming in at number 5 for me is going to be what I think is a very underrated movie, and that is the 1993 Stephen King movie adaptation, The Dark Half. Now, this is based on a book that Stephen King wrote, and I've not read the book, so whether this is a good adaptation or not, whether this is accurate to the book, I can't say, but as a movie on its own terms, I do really like this movie. And I think it has an interesting premise where you basically have like this guy who writes horror stories, and he writes a horror book about a supernatural entity, and that causes murders, and murders very similar to what he wrote in the book start coming to life, and the main lead character has to team up with a police detective played by Michael Rooker to take down the supernatural force. And yeah, very underrated movie on the whole front, and I need to give this a rewatch because it's been a while, but from what I remember, I do remember really liking it. So yeah. Coming in at number 4 is going to be the very first movie George Romero directed, Night of the Living Dead from 1968, which this right here is a pretty good movie, but I just prefer other George Romero movies, which we'll get to, but this is the movie that pretty much birthed the zombie genre as we all know it today. And I like the story to this movie where you basically have a movie about a group of survivors who are trapped in this small isolated house that have to survive the zombie apocalypse. Like that right there, especially for the time this came out, was a very creative concept, and I do think that Ben is a really good character. The only reason it's not higher on the list is, even though I do like this movie, I'm not a big fan of the abrupt ending, and while I do think the actress who does play Barbara does great, I do think she is kind of a little underdeveloped as a character, which that's personally why I prefer the Night of the Living Dead remake from the 1990s directed by Tom Savini, but the original Night of the Living Dead is still a really good movie, and it comes in at number 4. Coming in at number 3 is going to be the 1985 movie Day of the Dead, which this is a great horror movie where it's basically a movie about a group of survivors trapped in a military base that have to fight off zombies, and that's an interesting concept, and I think that the practical effects are really good. I think this movie has some good characters. I really like the zombie Bud. I think Bud is like one of the coolest movie zombies of all time, and just yeah, this is a really good movie. Coming in at number 2 for me is the only movie that I own on DVD. Well, I own Night of the Living Dead, the original, but it's not with me at the moment because my sister borrowed it. But at the moment that I own, my number 2 is Creepshow, is the 1982 horror anthology movie Creepshow, which this is really not the best DVD as it doesn't have the cover art on it, which kind of disappoints me. But, the cover art of Creepshow you can see right here with the skeleton on the back cover, but I got this box set at Walmart for I think $20 for 8 movies. That's a good deal, but I mainly got it just because I wanted Creepshow in my collection. But yeah, Creepshow is a great horror anthology movie where it's a movie that it's rather simple. This movie is a horror anthology movie that pays tributes to 50s comic books, but the movie basically tells 5 stories wrapped into one movie, and all 5 great stories. And I think that the practical effects are good. I think that this movie is scary when it needs to be. It's funny in moments when it needs to be. And just This is easily, to this day, the best horror anthology movie, and I actually got to see this movie in theaters this year for its 43-year anniversary with my girlfriend and my dad, which I had seen this movie, but they never had, and they ended up liking it, so that's cool. But yeah, great movie. And of course, coming in at number 1 is going to be the original Dawn of the Dead from 1978. Now, I did like the 2004 Dawn of the Dead remake with Zack Snyder, but even then, it doesn't compare to the original movie. This movie is a horror masterpiece. I think that the concept is really cool. I really like the idea of like a classic zombie movie, but like set entirely in a mall with a group of 5 survivors that have to fight off zombies. I think that's an interesting concept. I think a lot of the practical effects hold up. This movie has a great set of characters, the soundtrack, just everything that qualifies for good storytelling in a good movie. Everything you need to make a great movie is all here. And easily the best zombie movie all these years later, and a classic I watch every October. So yeah. Anyways, guys, that was my list of my 5 favorite George Romero movies. Share your list in the comment section down below, and we'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye now.